Please switch on mic.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you so much, madam, for the introduction. First of all, I would like to place gratitude to the one and only Dr. Vijay Prasad sir, the director of THPI and also the chairperson for the Indian Council for Child Welfare. I would also like to place on record gratitude to Dr. Harish Singh sir. He is actually my professor who's taught me MEd in special education when I was studying my masters in THPI. Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak to the invaluable audience. Today I am just going to share what basically is building inclusive foundation, that is how we are going to implement the new education policy for early childhood education, special education in India, particularly for children having multiple disabilities. Next one, please. So if you can see the next slide, that basically shows about my institute where I work, National Institute for Empowerment of Persons with Multiple Disabilities, and this is the website of this National Institute, and we have services, departments, courses. We run courses in the field of, in the area of multiple disabilities, like B.Ed Special Education, Masters in Special Education. We also have bachelors in speech and language pathology. We also have bachelors in occupational therapy, physiotherapy, so on and so forth. So this is basically the website. You can always log into niepmd.tn.nic.in. So this is the website, and you can always take information about our website. Next one, please. So the mission of NIPMD, generally when we talk about this policies and when we talk about universalization of education to children, particularly children with disabilities, and that too particularly for children with multiple disabilities, we at NIPMD basically is the mission is basically to enable the individuals with disabilities and multiple disabilities so that they can engage in the community of their own choice. And we are trying to provide a comprehensive opportunity, accommodations and whatever intervention strategies are required for children and also individuals with multiple disabilities. So that is what is our mission. We are always working towards multiple disabilities and also the other disabilities as per the RPWD Act 2016. Next one, please. So here's an overview of what actually I am going to cover today, or what I'm going to share with you all. Like what exactly is the new education policy. I hope during the deliberations that has happened in the morning sessions, you might have been acquainted of the education policy, but still, what are the basic crux in the new education policy pertaining to disabilities, and that too for children, that I'll just highlight few points, and then we'll be also looking into what early childhood education is and what is the importance of early childhood education. What is inclusive education and how this inclusive education is being made accessible or is being made available for individuals or for children with multiple disabilities. Then we'll look into some of the strategies, and then I will just present one case study. With that case study, we will understand what are the best practices, what are the key takeaways, and how these best practices are going to be used in the field of early childhood education, particularly providing special education for our children with multiple disabilities in the early age group. Next one, please. So we all know that when we talk about NEP 2020, it always focuses on it's basically a comprehensive policy document, so that you all know that it's a comprehensive document which is basically trying to give an overhaul of the system, that is the education system that we are into. So it is basically aiming to make education more holistic, more flexible, lot of multidisciplinary aspects. So it is all aligned with the needs of the 21st century, and also it is being aimed at bringing out the unique capabilities of each children or each student. So the emphasis would be on inclusivity, equity, quality of education for all students, ensuring that no child is left behind, irrespective of their socioeconomic background or geographical location or any disabilities they might have. The goal is basically, so that's why the goal is to ensure quality education, and the approach will be multifaceted, or it will be of varied nature, wherein we have a lot of collaborations from many stakeholders. Collaboration from many stakeholders means like collaborations like you are also a stakeholder, like all those who are attending this learned program or South Zonal Committee Conclave, all are stakeholders. So parents are also stakeholders, general people are also stakeholders, so professionals are also stakeholders, students, pre-service teachers are also stakeholders. So all these people are stakeholders, and with their collaboration we are going to make this approach more imbibed into the field. So this is how we understand that how NEP is going to emphasize inclusivity and accessibility for early childhood education. Next one please. So understanding, so let us now try to see what new education policy says. So as I have told that it's a comprehensive network framework which is aimed at transforming the education system and making sure that the emphasis is on inclusivity, equity and quality education, and no child should be left behind. So one of the primary goals of this NEP 2020 is to ensure that every child in the country has access to quality education from the age 3 to secondary level. So what are the key provisions of this new education policy? The key provisions, as you can see, we have universal access to education from preschool to secondary level. Then we have emphasis on early childhood care and education. There is inclusive education for children with disabilities and multiple disabilities. Curriculum and pedagogy, that is important, very much important, because we always try to reframe, accommodate a lot of curricular strategies and pedagogy reforms, teacher training and professional development. That is what is very much important. So when we talk about universal access to education from preschool to secondary education, as I said, that the objective is very important, because we are actually trying that every child in the country should have access to quality education from 3 years to secondary level of education, that is 18 years. And what it says that we need to have universal access, we need to prepare children for school readiness, very important, school readiness, because school readiness program is not which is happening in the school, it happens before that. So it happens mostly in the home environment. Addressing developmental needs before whatever formal schooling starts, extending the right to education, that the act that is covering from ages 3 to 18 years, hence ensuring free and compulsory education for all the children. Infrastructure, that is building and upgrading of infrastructure, providing adequate resources, ensuring that schools are accessible. So when we talk about accessibility, it is not only barrier-free environment, it is basically accessible in every terms. Accessible curriculum content, accessible materials, or accessible technology, all these things come under that. So we must ensure that apart from building and upgrading infrastructure, there has to be a provision of adequate resources so that schools can make sure that children with disabilities have accessibility. And the next one is enrollment and retention. So it is very important, because that's why when we talk about enrollment and retention, we do enrollment, but sometimes it becomes difficult to retain. So implementing policies so that the enrollment rates can be improved, reducing the dropout rates, so that by addressing socio-economic and cultural barriers, all these things work under universal access to education from preschool to secondary level. Now when we talk about childhood care, emphasis on childhood care, why we are telling that it has to be there, why emphasis has to be there? Because we need to understand that early childhood education is basically a very important stage of development of it in a child, where it impacts the cognitive, where it impacts the emotional, and where it impacts the social development. So when we implement this childhood care and education, early childhood care and education, as per while developing the national curriculum framework for early childhood, it basically what it does, it outlines the age appropriate learning outcomes, activities, pedagogies. See, it is coming, pedagogies, learning activities and learning outcomes. We need to understand that there is a need for integration with Anganwadis and preschools. So we need to strengthen the link between Anganwadis, we need to strengthen the link between preschools and primary schools, so that there is a smooth flow, so that there is a smooth transition of children from one stage to another to another to another. So there is a pure transitional that is happening. Now this transition is very important because see, many of the children have difficulties in transition. Particularly if you look at children with no disability, they also have difficulty in transitioning. So imagine if child with multiple disabilities who has more than 2 disabilities, how the transition is going to affect it, because it is not going to be a smooth transition. So we need to ensure, if we have the integration of these Anganwadis and schools, we can ensure that at least some smooth transition can happen. The third point that is mentioned as inclusive education. Now inclusive education, all of you know what is the objective. It's basically to have equal access to quality education, and they should be included in mainstream education settings. Now when we do this, and when we have to have certain implementation activities, like for example, we should provide necessary support services, there should be support for support in terms of special education or special educators, counselors, therapists in the schools. Again, accessible infrastructure. Now accessible infrastructure, building is there, ramps are there, elevators are there. There should be tactile pathways also. So I will in the next slides there will be I will show you some tactile pathways also, which are there in our institute that we have made. Nowadays it is common that if you can find in the railway platform, you can find in the airport, you can find in bus stations. It is now becoming mandatory because of this RPWD Act and because of the policies and everything. It is now become mandatory that we need to provide an accessible environment. See, accessible environment is not only for people with disability, it is for everybody. For example, when we enter a building and it is 4th floor, 5th floor, we always try to seek that that the elevator is there or not, or a lift is there or not, because it is easy for us to go to that floor. So always we think of that. So that is also a part of accessibility. It is for obese people, it is for pregnant women, and it is everybody can be able to use that facility. Assistive technology, utilization of assistive technology. Lot of technologies are there. You have robotics, you have apps, you have mobile technology. Everything is there. So that has to be, it has to aid in learning. You have to make sure that they are accessible and they can be easily reachable to children with disabilities or multiple disabilities. So it aid learning and communication for children with disabilities. Individualized educational plans, that is what is very important. When we talk about individualized educational plans, it is tailor-made, and it should be tailor-made to the specific needs of each child with a disability. Curriculum and pedagogy. Curriculum and pedagogy reforms, very important it is, curriculum and pedagogy, because we want to make learning more holistic or more enjoyable, integrated. That is, we need to shift from rote learning to conceptual learning. That is what is curriculum and pedagogy reforms. So there has to be an encouragement with regard to multidisciplinary approach to education, like integrating subjects, promoting critical thinking, promoting creativity. All these things are there. Experiential learning, hands-on experiential learning, hands-on, emphasizing on hands-on or experiential learning, or including activities like field trips or project-based learning. Many things are there wherein rote memory, rote learning, from rote learning they have to be taken towards experiential learning, project-based learning. Because when we talk about, again I am focusing on multiple disability, when we talk about people with multiple disabilities or children with multiple disabilities, because they have very unique challenges, it is difficult for them to have the subjects which are taught in the way for all other disabilities. So we need to focus more on giving them opportunities to touch, to feel, using all the tactile things, all the tactile pathways, all the senses. So there needs to be project-based learning also. Competence-based learning. Competence-based learning only we have to focus, rather than just whatever content we are going to memorize. Next one is the teacher training and professional development. Teacher training and professional development, now NEP has proposed that the B.Ed curriculum which is there has to be integrated. So now there is a thing that is coming up, and with the approval of Rehabilitation Council of India, It is called as ISITEP, that is Integrated Special and Inclusive Teacher Education Program. Now this new program is going to be launched by RCI, because RCI is also trying to amalgamate with the National Education Policy, which says that there has to be a 4-year integrated bachelor degree course in education that combines knowledge, pedagogy skills and practical experience. So this practical experience everywhere is been mentioned in that, and what they say is everything should be experiential. There has to be more of project based learning, not only content based learning. So now whatever the integrated approach that has been designed, it is designed to provide a strong multidisciplinary background to future teachers, so that they ensure it is there that they are well prepared for the complexities of the teaching in the 21st century. Next one please. Now we move on to early childhood education and its importance. Why it is important? We all know that how education and what all education are there. So early childhood, the definition I have given, that it refers to the period of learning that takes place from birth to 8 years of age. What is that? It is being divided into several phases. Like for example, 0 to 2 years you have infancy, toddlerhood 0 to 3 years, early childhood you have 3 to 8 years. Now whatever training or whatever for informal schooling that is happening, that basically happens during 0 to 2, 2 to 3, and then 4 years onwards and 5 years onwards they go into the school system. So prior to that you have lot of years, and that is definitely, that encompasses a wide range of activities and experiences which are designed to aid in the development of young children, so that they can prepare them for formal schooling. So the important thing that here is cognitive development, emotional development, social development, language and communication. Social development, for example, cognitive development. Something like, activities you can stimulate, like providing activities in terms of storytelling, puzzles, educational games, which enhances the cognitive skills, because it is basically these interactive skills, this interactive learning that is going to happen with whatever you are planning. It is basically helps in the formation of the neural connections that are critical for the academic success, or that are critical for the intervention of the success of the intervention that we are going to provide. So very important in that. Emotional development, definitely emotional development during the early childhood age or education. There is a need for providing a safe and nurturing environment where the children can understand and manage their emotions. Like lot of people nowadays are coming up with lot of activities related to emotions. How we need to understand the emotions of a child with disability, or that too particularly a child with multiple disability. Social development is basically how we are interacting with each other, and how this helps, like for example sharing or taking turns, collaboration, all these activities, cooperative games, let's say circle time. In autism spectrum disorder there is a term called a circle time, bye time. All these things are there. Language communication, so early exposure to language, so reading aloud, the sessions, singing nursery rhymes, engaging in conversations, enhancing language skills. All these things are there along with physical development, along with us. So children, if they have a strong early childhood education foundation, definitely I think when they are better prepared for the challenges, of formal schooling. They are more likely to develop a positive attitude towards learning. They perform to some extent, definitely people with multiple disabilities to some extent perform better in some of the cognitive activities. They, at least the intervention strategies that whatever we are providing, whatever is going to be provided to them, definitely they respond to that. Exhibit higher levels of social and emotional well-being. Have a better long-term health outcomes. So all these things are there. So the NEP that is focusing basically on early childhood education with regard to National Education Policy 2020, significantly they emphasize on early childhood care and education, because they recognize that it's a critical stage in a child's development, and also making sure that high quality education is provided. The children should enter the school and is ready. So before that, the school readiness program, whatever we are preparing in the school readiness program is based on that, and that will help the child to overcome many of the difficulties that will come in the near future. Anganwadi workers, they will receive training in this early childhood education, and the Anganwadi workers then becomes equipped with many of the learning materials and resources, so that they are able to take care of the activities that are required for the children with multiple disabilities, their cognitive development, their social development, their language development and all. So that's why there is a special emphasis or significant emphasis on early childhood education, which says that it is very critical in identifying, and also the need for the teachers to specialize in early childhood education. We need to understand certain points of child development, child growth and everything, so that the way we develop the strategy, the way we develop our IEPs can help in improving the child's overall development. Next one, please. Now, next one, previous one. So, inclusive education for children with multiple disabilities. I'm sure now you are able to understand like how we define multiple disabilities. So, multiple disabilities, as you see, it refers to the presence of two or more disabilities in an individual. Now, these disabilities can be a combination of cognitive, can be a combination of physical, sensory, and or emotional impairments. For example, if a child might have both a visual impairment and a mobility challenge, let's say difficulty in walking, or difficulty, or let's say locomotor disabilities we can say, or a combination of intellectual disabilities with hearing loss. Now, each of these combination presents challenges, unique challenges, and requires a specific support strategies. For example, now when we talk about a child with both hearing and speech impairment, let's say for example a child with both hearing and speech impairment may require alternative communication methods such as sign language, such as communication modes, such as speech generating devices, such as augmentative and alternative communication. All these things are there because the child with multiple disabilities, they often face significant challenges in communication. They may have difficulty expressing themselves or understanding others, especially if they have a combination of speech, hearing and cognitive impairment. So, tailor-making each child with multiple disabilities because of their unique learning needs require individualized educational support or approach. Standard teaching may not be effective, or whatever for single disability, whatever strategy we are using may not be effective. So we need to empower the teachers, or the educators must tailor their instruction to meet the specific needs of each of the child. So NAP provisions, what here it says that it strongly advocates for inclusive education, ensuring that children with disabilities or with multiple disabilities are integrated into the mainstream education settings rather than being put into the segregated into special schools. Now here people may say that no, people with multiple disabilities, they have to be put in special schools. How they can be integrated or included in inclusive setup? So it is there because some children who require lot of hospice care, that those children may require support from special schools. But those children who have somewhat ability so that they can learn, they can understand, they can express to some extent, they can walk, they can move around, for them definitely inclusive education can be a better option. So the goal is to provide an educational environment that is definitely going to support the diverse needs of all learners and promotes equity and inclusion. Now next one please. So as I was talking about, I couldn't collect much pictures. Anyway, you can find many of these pictures in our website also. So these are accessible features at NITMAT, like you have, as I said, the tactile flooring, the ramps which are there. Then if you see the stairs, there is a red marking that has been provided, at least because when we walk or when we come down, there is a standing and there is a resting. When we walk up in the stairs, there is a resting place, and then when we walk down, there is a this place. So we have marked as markings are there. So red color markings are there. That is also useful for people with low vision and other visual visual difficulties, people who are having other visual disabilities. So that's what accessible infrastructure, definitely a key provision of the national education policy. So which says that the schools should have, or whatever institutes you are working, or whatever hospitals or setups you are working, or rehabilitation setups you are working, you should have accessible classroom. Classrooms should be accessible, because it is not only people with visual impairment will walk in. People with wheelchair also will move into the classrooms. People with hyperactivity, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, they will also move into the classroom. People with autism spectrum disorder, they will also move into the classroom. So you should have an accessible classrooms. You should have accessible libraries. You should have accessible computer labs. You should have accessible recreational area. Learning materials must be available. Learning materials must be available in Braille. Like what Madam was telling today before the introduction that Madam was giving in. She was telling that there will be a sign language interpreter. So definitely I hope that whatever speech I am giving, so sign language interpreter must be there, because there can be instances wherein people with deafness will be around and they need to understand. So when this online meeting that we are doing, this online meeting also have a facility of closed captions. So some people who are watching online, they can use that closed caption. There is a three dot in the Google Meet, and if you click it, there will be options that is coming up, closed captions, and then that when you click up, you can convert it into Hindi or English or Tamil, Telugu, whatever languages are available, that will be displayed. So you will be able to understand. So that is accessible. So whatever learning materials are there, it should be available in Braille, it should be available in large print format or audio formats. So all these things are there. So assistive technologies like screen readers, adaptive keyboards, hearing aids, augmentative and alternative communication devices, definitely they can enhance their learning. So all these accessible features are required when we talk about educating children or building foundations for education, inclusive education for our children with multiple disabilities. That is very must and important. Similarly, when we talk about developing an individualized education program or plan, which is tailor-made to the specific needs of each child with multiple disabilities, we basically outline specific goals, accommodations, support services that are required for each child, and they are to be developed in collaboration with the special educators, the specialist, parents. As I told earlier, that stakeholders. So all these stakeholders should be there. For example, an IEP for a child with both physical and cognitive impairment might include goals for developing fine motor skills, cognitive milestones, strategies for communication and social interaction. All these things are there. Importance of teacher training. It also emphasizes the need for specialized training. Next one, please. So when we talk about multiple disabilities, as I said, multiple disabilities, here is a child who is trying to play, we call it as a ball throw, no? Generally in gyms, and this one we use it. Children with multiple disabilities, so understanding what multiple disabilities in early childhood. So when we talk about children with multiple disabilities, they face unique challenges in the early development. This can include what I said, this can include a combination of physical, intellectual, sensory, behavioral impairments that require specialized support, not single disability specialization, but all multiple category. So it is crucial for engaging a proper or effective communication or effective education program wherein not only the child's disability needs are taken care, but also his abilities, but also his capabilities, but also his difficulties, but also his needs, but also his challenges, but also his family needs, but also his community needs are being taken care of. So that is why it is important for us to provide early identification and comprehensive assessment, because they are the key for developing tailor-made interventions, and they provide the necessary resources and therapies to make these children achieve their full potential. So whatever training programs we do should have, whatever training programs we are doing, we particularly NIEPMD, when we do, we try to include all the components, all the comprehensive information on the various types of disabilities that are there, that combination of disability, the characteristics of this disability, how they occur, or what are the conditions of these disabilities, what are the symptoms, and how the teachers will be able to recognize these specific challenges faced by children with multiple disabilities. What can be the signs and what can be the symptoms of different types of disabilities, and understanding how they interact. So this is how we are making sure that we provide content-based instructional strategies to the teachers also, so that they understand and how multiple disabilities have to be provided with rehabilitation. Not rehabilitation, how they have to be empowered. Parents, how they have to be empowered. Teachers, how they have to be empowered. Child, how they have to be empowered. Community, how they have to be empowered. So that is all work on to the making sure that we understand the multiple disabilities during early childhood in a more comprehensive and more evidence-based way. Next one, please. So that is what I was talking about, the challenges and barriers that are there for inclusive education. So many schools I would say, but nowadays things have improved to some extent, but still many schools have difficulty in requiring or accessing to the necessary funding, wherein specialized equipments or trained personals can be taken up so that they can support the overall inclusive education programs that happens. The preparedness of educators often they feel that they are not up to the mark, or they are not properly equipped to address the necessary diverse needs. So that's why we take teacher training programs that are there. The teacher training program, the National Education Policy, emphasizes the need for specialized training for teachers, so that they can be equipped with the skills and knowledge that is required to take care, to provide intervention for children with multiple disabilities. Societal attitudes. Now these negative social perceptions and the stigmas which are there towards individuals with disabilities, definitely they can create barriers to their full participation. Now that societal attitudes have to be changed. So we need to do a lot of programs, like there can be some mentorship programs, there can be some community awareness programs, there can be some programs on behavior management, programs on social inclusion, programs on community resources. So many things you can have. You can also involve teachers, or let's say other people, in equipping them with the strategies that are required for pedagogy, because that is also a main thing when we talk about barriers or challenges which is being there for people with or children with multiple disability. Workshops and seminars there has to be. So organizing, like you have just organized a very beautiful program on South Zonal Conclave, wherein you are actually looking into the rapid assessment of issues in the southern region relating to child protection. So like this type of workshops, wherein you have people coming for speaking for intellectual disabilities, people coming for speaking for multiple disabilities. Shalja madam coming and speaking about the school readiness program that is important for children with disabilities, or let's say intellectual disabilities. So very important that you are organizing these type of workshops. So we have to regularly organize these type of workshops, seminars, and online training modules that we can develop. Or nowadays people are more many of the people are now preferring to use online platforms. So like this online platform we have. So the program is going on in Hyderabad, and I am sitting in Chennai, and I'm really grateful to Harish sir, and also I excused Naveen sir, because they have given me this opportunity to at least slot my presentation before, due to some other administrative exigencies. So online modules can be developed, we can have mentorship programs, so many things can be developed so that we can overcome the societal attitudes or barriers that are there for children with disabilities. Next one, please. Now when we talk about the strategies which are there for implementation, like what are the strategies are there? So inclusive curriculum, definitely inclusive curriculum is there, because we need to develop and implement a curriculum which is flexible, which is adaptable to the needs of children with multiple disability. Like we have been focusing on teacher training, providing specialized training for educators to equip them with skills and knowledge required to support children with multiple disability. Assistive technologies, using assistive technologies to enhance learning and communication for children with multiple disabilities, involvement of the parents. It is very important because involving the parents as they are a part of the stakeholders, we need to have the involvement of parents, because parents are definitely going to make sure that whatever being taught in the school setup, or let's say in the center, it can be carried forward in their home, and then they can give us the feedback. Next one, please. So this policy implementation framework that basically we are talking about is generally policy alignment, which we are talking. So whatever the new policy which is there, it aligns with the existing education framework, which emphasizes the integration of inclusive practices into the curriculum, providing a framework for schools, education institutions, so that if inclusive strategies are implemented effectively. Teacher training and development. A main thing of policy implementation is to provide comprehensive training, comprehensive development programs for teachers, so that they can become equipped with the knowledge and skills that are required to support the diverse learners effectively. Community engagement, I was talking about. Community engagement. Successful implementation of the new policy requires active engagement with local communities, parents, stakeholders, so that ensuring that inclusive practices are integrated into the broader educational perspectives. Next one, please. So here, inclusive classroom practice. We all know inclusive classroom practices which are there. Basically it is to develop, implement a curriculum that is flexible, adaptable to the diverse needs of children with multiple disabilities, like universal design for learning. So this universal design for learning, it's basically we all know or understand that it is now basically universal design of learning is based on the accessible features. So when we talk about accessible features, this universal design of learning, basically multiple means of representation, expression and all, are the main thing for universal design of learning. So any framework that guides the development of flexible learning environment that can accommodate individual learning differences. This universal design for learning, it provides multiple means. It provides multiple means of representation, multiple means of expression, multiple means of engagement. 3 M's we say. Multiple means of representation, expression, multiple means of representation, multiple means of expression, multiple means of engagement. Like providing materials in various formats. Materials like to be provided in text format, audio format, visual format, so that to cater to different learning preferences. Differentiated instruction. The instructions that are there, tailoring those instructions to meet the individual needs. So what the teachers do, teachers modify the content, process, products, learning environment based on the readiness level of the children, interest and learning profile. For example, creating a tiered assignments that allows the student to work at different levels of complexity. For example, easy, medium and easy, medium and tough level. So like that, all these things are different under different levels. Then multisensory approaches, making sure that multisensory approaches are used to enhance learning by engaging multiple senses. For example, incorporating tactile, auditory, visual elements into lessons to support learning, or inducted in individualized education program which can support learning for children with disabilities. Life skills integration, life skills education within the curriculum, so that they can help children with multiple disabilities to develop practical skills. So like examples, teaching daily life skills, teaching social skills, teaching vocational skills alongside the academic content. So all these things are there that can help in making the inclusive practices possible. Next one, please. So what we say here is, if you see, next one is what? Okay, adapting the learning environment for children with multiple disabilities. Now here you see the picture. a picture of a boy with multiple disabilities, and the parents are there, the sibling is there, the teacher is there, and the caregiver is there. There is another student on the wheelchair is there. Now they are I think they are playing this bowling thing. And bowling thing, we all know, we have seen in recreational clubs that it has been rolled, the ball is rolled on, and the ball hits the paddles. Now here the child has difficulty in doing that. So what they have adapted it in such a way that they have this basically if you can see the pipe that is basically the pipe which we fix in the toilets and all. So we have taken one pipe, we have purchased that pipe from the shop, we have cut it and made it like we have made it like this, and when we put the ball, suppose for example this is the ball, it rolls down like this. So that is how the adaptation that we have done. So designing an inclusive and accessible learning environment is definitely crucial because it supports children with multiple disability. It makes them a part of that. Now for example, if we did not made this accessible thing, he would not have been a part of this bowling program. So that's why we have made sure that some accessibility we have provided so that it supports child with disability. So when we talk about supporting children with disabilities, it can incorporate assistive technologies, it can incorporate sensory friendly materials, flexible seating options, and all these can accommodate diverse needs and learning. So we must make sure the educators or whatever rehabilitation professionals like us, we should ensure that there needs to be a clear visual cues, ample lighting, acoustics that minimize distraction, helping students focus and actively participate in the educational process. The next one, please. Now, again, this one is very important because we were talking about collaborating with families, family engagement, community partnerships, and cultural responsiveness. These are the three things basically that works, three pillars that is there, because family engagement is what we are trying to establish an ongoing conversation or communication and collaboration with the parents and the caregivers so that they can understand each child's unique needs, preferences. They can incorporate their insights into that particular learning process of the child with multiple disability. Community partnership. We need to have a partnership with local organizations, disability advocates, specialized service providers to expand access to resources and support for children so that it can provide a proper support and also improve their activities, or not only for them but also it can help their families. Inclusive practices, we need to reflect to cultural backgrounds and the traditions of whatever diverse families we are serving. So we need to actively seek and understand and accommodate their perspectives, the family's needs, the family's perspective, the family's cultural background, and everything we need to understand. Then only we can be able to properly collaborate with the families and the communities. The next one, please. Now, if you see the next slide, it's basically the Parent Advisory Committee. Now, in NIPMED, we have following things like we have School for Children with Multiple Disabilities. We have an inclusive preparatory unit for children with various types of disabilities also are there. People with non-neurotypical also there. So that is one school service. Then clinical services we have, wherein we provide all sorts of clinical services related to therapy, behavior modification programs and all that in clinical services. We have vocational and skilling services, and also we have independent living services. So what we do, we have a parent advisory committee in each of these areas. So that is what we made it sure that we have parent advisory committees. Now parent advisory committees are responsible because they are also a stakeholder. So whether the child is in the school, definitely we have a parent who is in the advisory committee. Clinical services, we have a parent in the advisory committee. Vocational skilling services, because when they grow up after the secondary age or 18 years, we have a parent who is in the advisory committee. And when they start living independently or when they start moving independently, we have a parent in the advisory committee that also takes care of that. If there is anything which is not happening properly, or if they have to share their grievances, definitely they can share through this advisory committee. Next one, please. Next one is important in the aspect of training and professional development for educators. So there are four things that I have mentioned here. That is, we need to provide a comprehensive training program. We need to implement a system of having an ongoing professional development and coaching, so that it helps special educators or educators to continually improve their practices, their inclusive practices, and also keep them updated with whatever latest evidence-based research is happening in the field. A culture of collaborative learning has to be created where educators can share their experiences and challenges. Also, they can share successful strategies for inclusive education. We need to ensure educators to have easy access to a wide range of resources. Next one, please. Next one is about the support services that I was talking about. So support services, early intervention programs are there now. You all know that there are almost all the national institutes and CRCs have a cross disability early intervention center, so which aims at providing early intervention. And then the next one is the inclusive preparatory unit, wherein children from the age 3 to 8 years, they have been given training, they have been provided with intervention. So the early intervention programs as a support service development and expanding the early intervention program, so that it can identify, support children who are who have difficulties, who have disabilities, or who have developmental delays, so that they can receive timely and appropriate interventions. Providing access to specialized sources like you can have assistive technologies, adaptive materials, or support personals or caregivers, that is crucial for creating an inclusive learning environment. Again, parent and caregiver support is here. The policy emphasizes that there has to be, it is important to provide support and resources for parents and caregivers, so that they can actively participate in the education of their child, wherein they can foster a collaborative partnership with the home in between school and home. Next one, please. This is the another one that we talk about, social and emotional benefits. So when we talk about social and emotional benefits, inclusive environment, so whatever inclusive environment we create, it develops a positive interaction, social interaction. There is empathy, understanding, emotional well-being, and there is a community cohesion, wherein it contributes to building a cohesive community where children learn to appreciate and value diversity, which lays the foundation for a more inclusive society. Next one, please. Next one is on monitoring and evaluating inclusive practices. So whatever practices we are doing, whatever ongoing thing that we are doing, there has to be an ongoing monitoring and evaluation, which are definitely crucial to ensuring the effectiveness of practices in inclusive practices in early childhood education. We need to clearly establish benchmarks and performance indicators, so that individual growth, social, economic development, satisfaction of the family can provide valuable insights, and regular classroom observations, collaborative reviews with teachers and support staff should be there to further strengthen the evaluation process. Now I'll share the case study. Next one. I'll share this case study. So not taking the name of the school, but the school here, what it serves a diverse population of students, which includes those with multiple disabilities such as cerebral palsy, intellectual disabilities, and visual impairment. So the school here developed a flexible curriculum, tailor-made to the needs of each student. So they employed universal design for learning principles, which ensured that lessons were accessible to all students, like lessons were presented in multiple formats. Assistive technologies were used, like speech-to-text software were used, communication boards were used, adaptive keyboards were regularly used in the classroom, and the school, what the school did was, school invested in specialized training for their teachers. Their teachers attended the workshops, many workshops related to inclusive education and how inclusive practices can be provided for people or children with multiple disabilities. So teachers attended these workshops, received ongoing professional development program on differentiated instruction, integration of assistive devices in the classroom. Parental involvement. The school actively engaged parents in the educational process by offering them workshops, resources. So like regular parent-teacher meeting, workshops on using assistive technologies at homes that were used. Next one. So the key takeaways from this that case study, that they are equipped with necessary skills and knowledge, use of assistive technologies, integrating assistive technologies with classroom so that it enhances learning, communication skills for students with multiple disability, involvement of the parents, making sure that parents are engaged as partners in the education process. Next one, please. So the best practice from these key takeaways, we concluded with the best practice. The best practice is basically what? Collaborative teaching model. Like allocating a specific time each week for teachers to meet and plan upcoming sessions, upcoming lessons, ensuring that both teachers' expertise is utilized, professional development, organizing workshops, making sure that we define clear roles and responsibilities, using of teachings for hands-on activities and parallel teaching methodology for direct instruction sessions, peer support programs, structured training for the peer buddies, like conducting workshops that include role play to help peer buddies, inclusive activities like group projects which requires teamwork, regular monitoring and support like bi-monthly meetings or discussing their experiences, recognizing and celebrating the contributions of peer buddies who are there, like awards, or we also try to give appreciation certificates, medals to acknowledge their efforts. Inclusive curriculum, again as I said, universal design of learning, differentiated instruction, multisensory learning and life skills education. Assistive technologies based on the needs assessment, thorough assessments to determine the specific assistive technology with multiple disabilities. We assess the individual needs, we work with